Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Zuheilly, and I am the Development Associate at the Coalition for the Homeless. Um, I am also the first step graduate of Class 133. When I was younger, I had good grades, I joined different after school activities, and I got a lot of certificates for the work that I had done. But my family life was not the same behind closed doors. As a middle child and always feeling like the black sheep in my family, I felt like my feelings did not matter as much and that I'd never be good enough. Growing up, my mother and I had a lot of arguments. It was very unbearable. Um, I felt that my feelings did not matter as much to her, and I didn't like hugging her. I didn't like telling her I loved her, and of course, that's no way to treat your mom. Um, Her actions hurt me more than anything she can ever do, especially when she didn't attend my high school graduation because she didn't want to. Um, in late 2011, I was working in an office, and that is where I met my daughter's father. And he was charming, and he wore a suit and tie. And at that point, that was different for me in the relationships that I had. We were together a year before I found that I was pregnant, and I waited 2 days to tell him. I had to sink it in first. Um, at first, it was a challenge. He was excited, and then all of a sudden, he changed his mind and wanted me to terminate my pregnancy. This led to many, many arguments, and the arguments were more about we couldn't financially support a child, and he had 3 other children to take care of, which it is hard. I spent 3 days in bed. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I was crying all day and night with my mom actually by my side. Funny story. Um, and at the end, I decided to keep my child. I figured that I was going to be a good mom regardless of anything. When I told her father I was keeping her, we argued for a few weeks, and 5 months into my pregnancy, we ended up getting back together. On April 23rd, 2013, I had my beautiful baby girl. So she just turned 4. And from that day on, I lived and breathed for her. She is my everything. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She's perfect. She is my little girl. When she was 1 year old, things with her dad started getting harder. His cheating and lying and the possessive attitude that he had towards me just didn't want to make me want to be there anymore. So we left. I felt degraded as a woman, and I was not going to allow my daughter to grow up thinking that it was okay to have a man like that in her life. I am her mom, and I am her example. So she will grow up doing what I do. I was then living with my mom, and her apartment was unsafe, and there were a lot of repairs that needed to be done, but the landlord refused to make these repairs. He wasn't getting what he wanted, so he felt that it was easier to just take us out of the apartment. Shortly after 6 months, we were evicted, and during that time, I had also had surgery in my stomach, which made everything a whole lot harder. And just coming out of the hospital, we had nowhere to go. We had moved everything into storage, so I couldn't go to my mom's house and lay down and heal properly. On July 29th, with nowhere else to go, me and my daughter went to PATH in the Bronx, and this is where families go to seek shelter. I was less than a month out of surgery in that time, and I had to take a 50-pound plus suitcase, a duffel bag, a stroller, and my 2-year-old child with me. After telling PATH repeatedly once we were in there for just about the whole day, filling out paperwork and seeing caseworkers, going up and down floors, and I was not supposed to carry more than 25 pounds. You can only imagine. I was very scared that I would open my stitches. And when they bused us to this overnight shelter in Queens, I was just mentally destroyed. It was disgusting. It's not something that you would want to have your child in. I felt like my child was going to be mentally scarred. And thankfully, she was just too young, which is helpful at that point. I used towels to make her head feel comfortable because they were hard mattresses. And that night as well, I was up crying all night long, just wondering, what did I just get us into and what am I doing? But I couldn't turn back. I refused to. You take steps forward, you don't take steps back. It doesn't get you anywhere. The next morning at 6 a.m., we went back to PATH and we finished up the paperwork and going up and down floors again and seeing more caseworkers. After quite a few hours at 6 p.m., they finally sent us to a shelter. In this shelter, there were water bugs everywhere. It actually made my daughter's health a little harder. She is now asthmatic because of that. Sorry. Sorry, it's hard. One day, I saw a flyer, which this is the best part about this turnaround. I saw a flyer in the shelter that we were in, and it was an information session for First Step. When I went, it was just me and another girl, and they started explaining to us about the program and the workshops and the Microsoft Office, and that they would help us find real jobs. And I'm like, this is exactly what I need for my child to get out of here. So I went to my room, got every single document I could possibly find, made them copies, and was scheduled the next week for an interview. Orientation week helped me a lot emotionally because most of the women in there were there for the same reasons as me. They were single mothers, and their goal was to find work, support their families, and have a better life and career. Starting First Step, the one thing I knew I needed was emotional support. Jennifer, my caseworker, and Angela, my mentor, were my light through my journey in First Step, literally. No one can understand how much these women empowered me, how much strength they gave me, how much they made me realize about myself that I'm so much more than I was giving myself credit for. And it was so hard to always take their words in because I didn't believe them at first. And Jackie, she opened me up to what the market is looking for when they're hiring and what we should be acting like. And mock interviews were not fun. They were very, very hard, to the point that they became fun when they made us laugh, at least. So I do enjoy those things, guys. But one thing that I do take from those mock interviews, aside from them being hard, is that the compliments that they always gave me and their teachings made me realize that I was prepared. You know, I shouldn't be scared of interviewing. And that just made me a bigger person. When the workshops are over, they let us know where we will be interning. And I found out I was working at the Coalition for the Homelessness Development Department. I was, oh my gosh. I was super excited and so blessed. I planned out my routes already without even starting yet. The staff there boosted me up 1,000% the moment I walked in through that hallway. I was already in the building. And one person who I do thank who's not here today is Brandon, who I worked with very closely. And he complimented me and made me feel like I can take over the whole development department if I wanted to. I felt good. I felt strong. I had the courage to ask questions, to be independent. And he would tell me, you're going to go far. And I believed him because I saw the things that he would throw at me and all the challenges, and it was good. I felt good. I actually cried when I found out, or when I realized the internship was over, and I didn't want to leave. And I am not leaving you guys, just so you know. You guys are going to be here for life. You will have to deal with me and my toddler. And Sarah, the director of development, she asked me to stay. And even though it was only as a temp, I felt nothing but tears rolling down my eyes, and I was happy. All I can think and envision was my daughter, her growing up. She's 13. She has like everything. I did a good job. I became that mom that I wanted to be, and that made it even more better. So, I see you, Sarah. Thank you. Last year, June, Dave and Sarah asked me to, as you guys may know, be the development associate with the coalition, which brought many challenges that I actually didn't know how to do in the office world. I love office work, but there's many things to learn. And sure enough, I accepted my challenge with no hesitation. I now proudly, very much proudly, organize our two biggest drives for kids who are living in homeless shelters. And I work with all of the programs in the coalition with giving these families the things that they need to get out of shelter and to make their lives better. On September 29th, after 72 hours of no sleep and bouncing from work to shelter, I finally moved out of the shelter with my daughter, and it was the best feeling ever. Being able to give my daughter that, as I would say even for myself, stress-free thinking of the struggles that people go through in shelters, the stories that I hear every single day with clients, I'm blessed. I'm beyond blessed to be where I am now, to know that she is in a better place, has her own bed. Her health is actually much better since we moved out of the shelter. And her doctors are like, wow. And I'm like, yes, she's great. I don't even think she has asthma anymore. But aside from it all, I thank the coalition for that. I thank every single person, all my colleagues, all my friends, my family, as I call you guys, for making that happen and making me feel so, like everything. And given my emotional issues with my mother and the things that I felt, I actually have a very good relationship with my mom now, which I'm proud of. But I also thank myself and pat my own back. For learning to get rid of my biggest enemy, which was not to believe in myself and to be confident. I can honestly say that work is not easy. It is not supposed to be easy, and I live by that. If it's not hard work and you're not really working for it, it's not a satisfaction to me. And you guys are not nice. But I bring so much, and I thank you guys so much. I don't even have too many words, or there aren't any words to explain how much I thank you guys for every day. Not even the smallest things. If you give me a pen, I'm like, oh my God. if it wasn't for that initial visit with Jen and with Liz, I honestly can't tell you guys where I would be. And I'm proud to be where I stand. I am proud to be able to give my daughter this lovely future that she is growing up in now. And I'm proud to work for the coalition, and I'm proud to be a First Step graduate and see any client, female, that can tell me her story. And I'm like, go to First Step. Just do it. It will change you. Sometimes you just need those people in your lives to have those same stories and share with. Your stories may be different, but you're all there for one reason, like I say. So I end my story with saying that because of First Step, my mentors, my colleagues, and everyone else who mentally challenges me every single day, I have a beautiful, smart 4-year-old daughter who has more than my life in her hands, but mainly my heart and my perseverance to work harder every single day, because that's the life that she deserves. But I hope that everyone can take with them that patience, strength, and the desire to grow will always make you a better person, even when you don't see that in yourself. Thank you, guys.